put on these glasses.
Once again, it's them children of the damn motherfuckers coming live from your motherfucking mother's bedroom. So
my hit list is full, grim and dull. Hide from sky, quite miserable. Make the simple things in life difficult. Tripping off a single pull, entirely fucked up individual. Convinced there's something missing in my skull. Life is pitiful when you live like oxygen is killing you. Mad as fucking nothing in particular. Big up truancy, but I'll be there when it doesn't have shit to do with me. Human, give me room to breathe. Fucking 4 football fields with flipped in the tables, fold steel chairs to see you eating first. I aim to fuck up the planet, cause they live. I'm selling sunglasses at the gates of Buckingham Palace. I was lacking a vision, so plan to craft a religion that I myself would never put into practice. But centuries after, suspicions haven't arisen. Prone to anxiety attacks with a panic addiction. Mr. Wrong, one of them, spliced with human cells. I dwell in a glass bottom house with a view of hell. Drugs, I'm taking them, 2 bags of shrooms for self. Abducted by Earth, government funded aliens, plus the range within. Son, I'm Satan's kin. My notepad is a booklet of hell-raising hymns, and I decorate my face with pins for peace and a white taste. I don't know about yours, but this galaxy's all ours, and I'm spaced out, trying not to laugh at the dwarf stars. Sending an SOS, but Houston's ignoring them. We got 99 problems, and humans are all of them. I meditate and elevate into a better place, and jogging memory out of precise and measured pace. A sound vibrates around the universe and then it states there's no such thing as empty space. I find a higher consciousness in which nothingness doesn't exist. There's a colossal line between money and bliss. I'm chilling on the astral plane, and when my friends arrive, we're gonna dream ourselves alive. Big dogs or the chaos, close the curtains and dine, and it's fine. But saving the world is a crime. Whilst in a circular shrine, and a tin army keep the wooden workers in line. Chop, chop, dig, dig, until there's nothing left. Knock, knock, who's there? Probably deaf. Found a sense of humor and lost your breath. Laughing then, back in 10, worry not, practice then. While screaming fuck the cops. The only advice I've got is live and stay positive. Or keep the receipts for any props you give, until the witch hunts head into where them corporate bosses live. Political agitator, getting stoned like the Sabbath breaker. Money is the root of all evil, and I see the fascinators we call people. What did the post-mortem say? They switched democracy and woke all the way. Don't answer any phone calls today. Before it's 8 o'clock in the morning, pray.
Street light coming like prophets in the rain. Concrete hearts trying to remember their names. Truth scribbled in chalk where the lost kids play. If the world's gonna heal, somebody's gotta say. Street light coming like prophets in the rain. Concrete hearts trying to remember their names. Truth scribbled in chalk where the lost kids play. If the world's gonna heal, somebody's gotta say. City air thick like a sermon in disguise. New screens glowing with mechanical eyes. Politicians sell dreams in a plastic parade, while the poor dig graves with the deals they made. I studied the signals in rhythm and beat, hidden in bass lines under broken concrete. Where a poet once spoke with rebellion in his throat. Every verse like a flare from the lines that he wrote. Mr. Scott in the shadows with a pen like a blade, cutting through lies that the establishment made. But the palace of fame got a tempting embrace. Gold chains and applause in the velvet showcase. Mr. Scott, I do see you in a crowded place. I have infrared vision, they can see through walls and even metal then. It'll be face to face, so let's embrace the time that you took a stab at the new world order for all the unnecessary slaughter. Back when every verse felt like a revolutionary charter. Stage lights glowing like the hypnotic trance. Crowds moving like puppets in synchronized dance. But deep in the echo of that rebel creed, there's still a spark in the lines you see. Street light coming like prophets in the rain. Concrete hearts trying to remember their names. Truth scribbled in chalk where the lost kids play. If the world's gonna heal, somebody's gotta say. Street light coming like prophets in the rain. Concrete hearts trying to remember their names. Truth scribbled in chalk where the lost kids play. If the world's gonna heal, somebody's gotta say. Mr. Lee, I can see that you deliberately put symbolism in your music videos. Here we see. And you also sprinkle secret hidden messages in your lyrics. Mr. Scott Lee, are you hearing this? I know for a fact that anyone who idolizes their lives has a hidden hunger for freedom and the potential to stand for what's right and not to be blinded by that shining light. And if you cannot handle simple facts, then put down the pipe. Poetic justice in the world gone numb. Truth like thunder from a war drum. If the system's built on a fragile lie, one honest voice can electrify. I remember when the rhymes cut deep. Prophets in hoodies while the city couldn't sleep. Every bar felt dangerous, burning with fire. Like truth climbing fences made of razor wire. Mr. Scott once moved with that fearless tone, like a lone wolf howling in the corporate zone. But the charts are a kingdom with glittering gates, where rebellion sometimes negotiates. You could see the shift in the cadence and flow when the underground roar started moving slow. When the blade turned dull and the anger got tame. Just another bright star in a profitable game. But rebels never vanish from the art they made. They live like graffiti beneath fresh paint laid. So I'm rapping like thunder through the skyline crack, trying to wake the dreamers before freedom fades to black.
Freedom will change. It never worry about pain. Was wrapped to bring the freedom, how vivid in the brain.
Mr. Lee, I can see that you deliberately put symbolism in your music videos, here we see. And you also sprinkle secret hidden messages in your lyrics. Mr. Scott Lee, are you hearing this? I know for a fact that anyone who idolizes their life has a hidden hunger for freedom and a potential to stand for what's right and not to be blinded by that shining light. And if you cannot handle simple facts, then put down the pipe.
Poetic justice ringing through the streets tonight. Truth shining brighter than a neon light. If the world's asleep in a golden cage, it only takes one voice to ignite the stage. I'm not throwing stones at a fallen night, just reminding the crowd how we used to write back when the lyrics were raw and wild, like revolution whispering through the vinyl.
Every poet prays walks a dangerous lane. One road freedom, the other fame. Both flames bright in a different glow. One feeds truth and the other to show. Maybe the message still hides in disguise like holy constellations in midnight skies. Because the world still aches for a fearless pen, for a verse that rattles the cage again.
So if Mr. Scott hears this echo tonight, the people still remember the fight. And if the poet inside still breathes in your chest, the world might still hear your best. Mr. Lee, I can see that you deliberately put symbolism in your music videos, here we see. And you also sprinkle secret hidden messages in your lyrics. Mr. Scott Lee, are you hearing this? I know for a fact that anyone who idolizes their life has a hidden hunger for freedom and a potential to stand for what's right and not to be blinded by that shining light. And if you cannot handle simple facts, then put down the pipe. Poetic justice ringing through the streets tonight. Truth in the rhythm for the ones who dare. If the world's going to change from the roof to the sky, it starts with a question. Why do I need to repeat myself, Mr. Lee, someone who deliberately watches the cult classic They Live from 1989. Is secretly a truther. I am giving you a choice. Do you want to remain a poet or go along and become an elite public child abuser?
In Iran, if you go back to the 1950s, you had a prime minister called Mossadegh. His point was that the Western oil companies were ripping off the Iranian people. So what he did was nationalize the oil industry. Well, of course, the Western governments weren't having that. And so they outed him. And they bring in this guy called the Shah of Iran. He ran the country on behalf of the Americans right up to 1979 when the Islamic Revolution took place. Bring it back to where we are now. The man in the shadows on behalf of Israel and the United States that they want to bring in is the son of the Shah. The idea is not to replace the Islamic regime with freedom, but with a regime that answers to the United States and Israel. You've got this greater Israel plan. The Iranians were pushing back through Lebanon, and to get rid of them and bring in a regime that answers to America and Israel takes all that away and makes it much easier for this Greater Israel expansion to go on.